Greetings, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Kiyonah. Today I'd like to talk with you about how we can become the master of our circumstances, and by so doing, become like magicians in the Matrix. If we say that the Matrix is a computer-simulated hologram, then that means that we, each and every one of us, is interfacing with that computer simulation. And each interface has its own results depending on how it interfaces with it. So the Matrix has its own objective reality as what it is. And then we, in our interface, have our own subjective reality. And the way to be able to cause a revolution from within, or to reform this matrix from within, if you feel subject to the matrix, if you're a sovereign being, it may have no effect on you whatsoever, but if you feel like you want to work with it and help transform it, then that's what I want to talk with you about. Due to the ascension of so many people, the Matrix as we've known it has been coming unraveled, as though their server is close to crashing. I see this as things like the Mandela effect, where it's not producing things in the way that we've always known them to be and that we know are correct. So we can tell something's whacked, something's out of alignment, something's not right. There's a bug in the program, there's a glitch in the matrix. So it's coming unraveled as people ascend. But yet they're doing things like supercharging CERN in order to hold the matrix together, despite the ascension of more and more humans. And the way to do that, the way to be a master of your circumstances, which is a coined term I first heard from the guy who founded the Wild Human Initiative with me, Corey. And he laughed when he said it to me, that he just wants to be a master of his circumstances. And said that the more you think about that phrase, the bigger it gets, the more you realize. And he's right. But the way you become the master of your circumstances, no matter what your circumstances are, not that you're trying to change your circumstances, but that you're trying to be the Kung Fu master, the ninja warrior, the peaceful warrior within your situation. The way you do that, of course, is, I feel, with the ascension process, where you begin to awaken and you raise your awareness and you align yourself, and so forth and so on. And basically, to be a master of your circumstances and therefore be a magician in the matrix, you have to generate the energy power to force the matrix to align with your expectations. That's what they do in magic. They generate the energy power with spells and rituals and paraphernalia and all kinds of different methods to generate a strong enough energy to bend the laws of nature and physics in order to attain a desired outcome. That's how magic works. And the stronger your energy power is, the more successful your magic is. And with most humans, magic does not manifest instantly, in my observations. It manifests gradually as circumstances change. And that's okay. There's a speed valve on the unfolding of our manifestations that keeps it from happening too fast or too slow. But being the master of our circumstances, we can control that more and more instead of being subject to the boring matrix. I was going to come out with a slew of adjectives, but you get my drift. The digitized, preconceived, rigid realities, we don't have to plug into that at all. We really literally can wake up and feel like junk, like sore and tired and achy and in a bad mood, and we can be the master of our circumstances by bringing ourselves to awareness of the energy that we want to generate. We can start breathing in prana. We can start doing mudras. I had one spontaneously come to me this morning, and this is what it looks like. I have no idea what it means, but something told me to do this all over myself. And as I do so, to allow the blending of my ordinary mundane self in the matrix with my infinite divine self. And to let that integrate. This mudra feels so powerful. And it arose spontaneously for me, and I don't know what it means. But I really, really like it. It feels incredibly powerful to hold myself this way. And then, by doing that, you are a sovereign being who can choose, like a ninja in a movie, how you decide to perceive things, like the Trump administration, or the condition of the environment, or what a mess all the institutions are, etc., etc., instead of just slogging along with the mass conscious mindset, or doing something that is habitual, or just staying stuck and feeling like shit. You know, you can say, I am turning this around right now, okay? It's time for an attitude adjustment, because this is not how I want it to feel or to be. If something unjust happens to me, I don't want to feel like a victim, okay? I want to feel like an activist. And so that's how I act. And then instead of being treated like a number that they can pull anything over on, I get treated like someone who's conscious and knows the law and knows my rights, and they better not do anything wrong. Because if they do, there will be a price to pay. I'll make sure of it. You know? That's empowerment within the matrix. Becoming the master of your circumstances. And that's just where I'm at in my journey. I don't know how possible it is for anyone else to get there, or to be at that phase. I don't know if it takes a long time of maturing, or if even children are able to do it, or what. But for me, it takes a while. It's a process. And what I'm seeing right now is that for so long we have, we, humanity, have kept our spirit and our material self separate. We've kept our private self private, and then had our public face, or our face we show to everybody else. And what I'm feeling and seeing right now is it's time to fully integrate that, and for us to be our higher selves as we unravel the matrix with our ascension and our activism and the abundance that we manage to create from doing the best we can with what we have from where we are right now. So it's all about alignment with your authentic, real self. And there is a tribe of extraterrestrials called Arcturians, and say like a few decades ago the Pleiadians were all the rage, right? Everybody was reading stuff by them. Now it's the Arcturians, so look them up if you get a chance. They are channeling or communicating or transmitting really incredibly empowering, beautiful information to help us evolve into our ideal selves. And one thing they say is that in this matrix, each one of us has an interface, and that interface is our body. That's where our eternal self interfaces in our body and then connects into this matrix reality. Our eternal self is probably, it's bigger than we are in this normal consciousness, so it's aware of 5D, 6D, 7D, and on up, and the dream time and everything else. If we can bring that, if we can embody that in our material, mundane selves and walk more often as our higher selves, then we can be the master of our circumstances instead of the victim of our circumstances. And I think it's really a process that takes a lot of practice. Daily practice. It's a daily spiritual practice. And so I spontaneously find ways myself to bring my higher self into my regular material self, like taking time to breathe in prana. I don't really understand all the big deal people make about breathing air and how that's supposed to bring you back to yourself and stuff like that. But I do understand breathing prana, breathing the energy that's in the air, and breathing that in and letting it cleanse and wash like monatomic gold, and then breathing out anything that is dense or putrid or stale. Breathing in the prana, breathing out the old. Doing that, doing tapping, doing lymph drainage on yourself, doing some gentle intuitive stretching, grace yoga, where you just make it up yourself according to how it feels like you need to move in order to have union between your infinite self and your material self. Spontaneously doing mudras, spontaneously making sounds, singing out tones like a baby does. Doing these things to more fully embody your infinite self in your mundane self. I find that whenever I do these things, I sit up a lot straighter. I feel like I look younger. I feel like my eyes sparkle. You know, it happens that fast for me and gets better and better. It's like we really can control how we look by how we feel. So, again, I think it's a gradual process. Maybe it can happen really quick if you're primed for it, you know. But instead of carrying a vibe where you wear all black grungy clothes and you drive around playing angry rap music and you screech in and out of parking spots and stuff like that, try putting on some Grateful Dead clothes and play Steal Your Face and just cruise around the parking lot slowly 3 times before you pull in somewhere, and park as far away as you can so that you have to walk across the whole parking lot. See how your energy changes. See if people look you in the eye and smile at you the whole time you're in the store, because I bet they will. Maybe that can give you a taste for how you master your circumstances. You can wear all black, you can listen to that kind of music, but I'm just saying, shake yourself out of that energetic signature and try a different one. See how people act. And then when you find the energetic signature that you like, start practicing that on a regular basis so that you constantly get the feedback from Babylon or the Matrix that you actually want, and so that you influence people to change, you know. I talked in an earlier video about how I told some social workers that when they said they were just doing their job, I told them they need to get a new job. And one of them did. And she got a job doing something that monitors and reports on other social workers to make sure they're maintaining the spirit of the law, which is to protect and preserve families. So that's how I became a magician in the Matrix and had influence on other people who are the gatekeepers of the Matrix, who reinforce the paradigms, you know? So this process of alignment with your divine self in order to be a master of your circumstances, so that you are like a magician in the Matrix. It's not that hard to do if you're interested in doing it. Basically, whenever you have a minute to just sit down and have a cup of coffee and a smoke or whatever, you just take a few minutes to breathe in prana. Not necessarily just air, but breathe in prana specifically into your chakras, from your crown to your root and back up again, and get it circulating and swirling like this. And then picture your Merkaba in your pelvic area spinning in both directions simultaneously within each other. And the energy going up and down. Breathe it in. If you feel sick or in pain, do like I suggested in one of my other videos, where you feel where it is in your body, what it looks like and what its texture is, what its energy is, and begin pulling it out of you like taffy and gathering it into a ball in front of yourself, an energy ball. Squeeze it together so it feels hot and you can feel the energy ball in your hands, and then spin it faster and faster and faster until it's like white light, and then put it back inside yourself wherever you need good high energy, and let it radiate all through your nervous system. I just wanted to touch on these topics. They're huge, but that's the messages I'm getting right now, is that it's time to integrate our spiritual life and our physical life, and that the way to be sovereign within the Matrix is to be a master of our circumstances. And the way to do that is with the ascension process, regardless of your lifestyle, your life way, who you are, what you do, etc. Just awakening, awareness, alignment, abundance, purging out the old, receiving the new with gratitude, and generating the energy, the same energy as when you feel like you're in love with someone really awesome, or you get something that you've been waiting for a long time and it's perfect. But sustain that feeling as long and as often as you can. That the way you feel when that happens, because that's the feeling of oneness and wholeness and completion. It feels so wonderful. And when you have that, then you're not in need of the Matrix or Babylon or any of that. It's an option, you know. And this is a process and it takes time, so be patient with yourself. And I just want to encourage you today to think about ways to become the master of your circumstances, no matter what your circumstances are or where you are in your growth. Because by doing so, rather than being the victim of your circumstances, by doing so, you will have freedom within the Matrix. You will see through it and you will be free of it, and you will be accessing it at will by your choice to the greatest degree you can. And you won't be relying on larger institutions and systems and things to change first, because you will be the master of your own circumstances, and you will use your power and your abundance to begin changing what's directly around you. Like cleaning up your house one room at a time, you start taking care of one person at a time that you see in need around you, and it ripples in ways that you cannot imagine. And even if it ripples in small ways that aren't that influential and they're just really subtle, they still make a difference. They make a difference in the energy signature of the earth, which goes from being like imprisoned, miserable, unconscious, dark, depressed, lost, etc., to being more fully embodied. And this path is not for everybody. Some people like being asleep in the matrix, and it's not for you to try to awaken anybody else except for yourself. Just by you being fully embodied as yourself, that is enough of an influence. And if they don't want it, or they don't get it, or they don't need it, may they go in peace. It's not a problem. Like it was in the old days when everyone was Christianized and they had to make everybody be a Christian. Awakening and awareness and alignment and unfolding, all that stuff happens individually for each person on their journey. But in regards to dealing with the matrix, I find it very encouraging to see this unraveling with the matrix effects, or the Mandela effects. That's very interesting. And if they do supercharge CERN and strengthen the matrix, then we need to maintain our sovereignty. Not just in our energy, not just in our mind, but in our whole life, the way we walk, the way we choose to be. If at least 10% of humanity would do that, then we would be in a more healthy state of being. I hope at least 10% of humanity is ascending at this time, because I feel like that's the quantum number that's needed for the critical mass to eventually happen. And so I would suggest taking an area of your life you want to transform, like being traumatized, or being victimized, or feeling like a slave, or being lonely, or whatever it is. And every day when you sit down to have a cup of coffee, a smoke, go on a walk, or whatever, take that out of its box and hold it and meditate with it in a way that you become the master of it. You look at it and you say, I see you, my trauma. I see you and I feel you. And I'm aware of you and I understand you. Is there anything that you would like to show me that I can do to help you, trauma? To be released and to go on your way because you have done your deed, you have served your role, you have taught your lesson. What are you trying to tell me, and what can I do to be more in alignment? And listen to that aspect of your life, and then practice embodying your divine infinite self here and now as you meditate, instead of being your usual self and then having private thoughts. Let your full infinite self just shine through in how you deal with anything. And for at least 7 days, if not more, do that taffy pulling exercise. Breathe in prana and feel that love, that infatuation and gratitude for something that you really just loved having at some point. And say, this is now transforming. This trauma is now transforming into victory. This trauma is now a turnaround. This fall from grace is now a comeback. And start generating the energy so that becomes true. And it can take a few years, so be patient with yourself. It could also happen really fast. It just depends on how clear you are and how strong you are. If you're able to drum, like Indian drums or African drums, if you're able to drum, sing, dance, or anything like that, that can facilitate it a lot quicker. So just find your own way. For me, it's the techniques I described, and my mudra, and a bunch of other techniques. And learn to look with your spirit eyes at everything. And be the master of your circumstances, so you can be a magician in the matrix and transform this reality into what we really want it to be. If this is a computer simulated hologram and we are hooked up to a chair, imagining this and dreaming this, then we're starting to wake up in our dreams, right? So that's all I'm saying is, Breathe in prana. Let it flow through your chakras from your root to your crown to your root, and let it start making a circle of energy. Out your mouth, in your yoni, out your mouth, in your yoni, or whatever, however you want to imagine it. And imagine your Merkabas and your Merkanas spinning in opposite directions and glowing with whatever colors your higher spirit shows you, with spirit rivers of energy coming out all around you and swirling in colors. Picture this integrating into your mundane self. It'll make you sit up straighter, it'll make your eyes brighter, it'll make you talk with authority, it'll make you consider things with love and grace first before you indulge in bad behavior. It'll help you in a lot of ways. And that's the beginning of how we can master our circumstances so that we can be magicians in the matrix. So I think that'll wrap it up for now. Remember to be beautiful, be free, and be true to yourself. Remember to be blissed and to be blessed, because that energy is what transforms reality. And as you go through your day, take care and take it easy, knowing that you are a sovereign, infinite being. And until I talk with you again, namaste and blessed be.